hero, champion, legend. Okay, look, let's talk Rise once more, and let's talk Turf Wars, of which you and I adore, because they are looking to be something special when it comes to our next entry into this glorious series. First and foremost, the Turf War example we got, let's actually look at it, because it's bloody mental.
Right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
Let's break it down.
Azeroth charges straight in, rebounding off the belly. He's not deterred. Tetranadon a little bit worse for wear, but he's ready for the Azeroth, who dodges using his smaller size and superior speed to his advantage, scrambling up the chest of his opponent, but he's made a huge mistake. Grabbed now by the Tetranadon. He is deposited in the mouth, the water-filled mouth. He's going for the forceful drown, but our plucky little bear won't give up, forcing his way back out. Is he deterred? No! Straight back in. A power match now between the two, though Azeroth is certainly outmatched, and he, after one final scramble attempt, is thrown away. The Tetranadon has had enough.
So I feel like from that you already get what I'm going at here. How many Turf Wars in World and Iceborne could you have described like that? Not many, chiefly because this is already longer than every Turf War in World and Iceborne. It's near 17 seconds. There are multiple turning points in the fight. Azeroth is rebounded away at least 3 times, but gets back up and goes for it. He doesn't give a shit. And I absolutely adore the plucky little honey hunter. I really, really do. But the chief takeaway from this is it really is a battle, right? Whereas the Turf Wars in World or Iceborne are more of a moment, a brief clash, a little jab back and forth. Okay, we're done, alright, that really hurt. And that's very different to what we're seeing here. Also, Tetranadon is very much using its actual, anatomy to its advantage. It's using its huge water-filled belly, it's using its extra size, it's trying to do the drown. Azeroth's using his, going for the scrambly, more agile attacks, right? They're not generic like the bloody Brachydios, who doesn't even get to use Slimer explosions in any of his Turf Wars. So that is heartening to see, where the monsters can genuinely be described as fighting. So you look at World and Iceborne, right, and I don't want to take away from the Turf Wars. They're incredible, they're a spectacle. Seeing them for the first time was mind-blowing. These monsters we'd followed through the years and loved, now properly going at it, there was nothing like it. But of course time moves on, and everything gets expanded, and expanded it has been. Because in World and Iceborne, the best Turf Wars was something like Joe flipping Diablos, and yeah, that's just bloody badass. Or something like Joe Elder Dragon Beam struggling. As it turns out, Devil Joe is just a really fun monster to watch fighting, surprising no one. But again, these are moments, right? They're not full-on actual battles, whereas now in Rise, that's exactly what they seem to be. Because you need to remember that these are both Tier 1 monsters. They are entry level, they're not supposed to be too difficult. Perhaps Tetranadon is a little bit more, and certainly he will be a step up above Azeroth, who is kind of like, I don't know, just Great Jagras plus maybe a half level, if you know what I mean. But the point I'm making is that they are early game monsters, and yet they have a spectacle like this. So imagine the Turf Wars between Elder Dragons in this game. You're gonna wanna get out of the zone pretty quick. And that's exactly what I want to talk about, because to me, what I would love to have happen is Turf Wars to be a much more involved gameplay moment. Because currently a Turf War happens and it's kind of like... and you sort of just sit there and you watch it. You might try and be cheeky and get some extra damage into the monster you're hunting while it's fighting, but, it's oh, okay, Turf War is happening, everybody take 5, and okay, it's over, everybody back in. It's kind of a weird pause, almost. It's like, oh, give him space, guys, okay. And I would like it to be brought more interactive with the hunter. Even though it is strictly monsters interacting, what I would like, what I hope happens, is it's almost like bond attacks, but, you know, not friendly. Ergo, two monsters are fighting, and that's a dangerous thing. They are huge, powerful creatures unleashing their full arsenal on each other, not caring about their surroundings or any other living thing within it, just focusing on each other. So I want it to almost translate as a attack on the hunter, ergo an incidental collateral one. So if this Tetranadon is throwing this bear off of him, poor Azeros, I want you to have to get out of the way of that, otherwise it clobbers into you, damages you, sending you flying, like when Devil Joe throws a monster in his mouth at you, but it's just kind of accidental from the turf war. So if you're too close to the struggling monsters, you're having a bad time. Like when you approach a monster that's being mounted and it's flailing, it does damage you and knock you away because of course it's a huge thing flailing. So if you have a load of turf wars that get bigger and bigger, longer and longer, more of a spectacle, that actually double up as like zone-wide moving, brawling attacks that you have to keep track of between monsters, how much fun would that be? Like bond attacks, but not friendly. So you end up, when you start getting elemental shenanigans involved, and fire and lightning, and, you know, it starts cascading over each of the monsters, you really do have to watch it, otherwise you might get accidentally fried. Or you could take it another way. Perhaps two monsters fighting is really bad for you. Perhaps they will do something against each other that they wouldn't normally do. Perhaps being pushed by a rival monster would cause it to enter a mode or an enrage that it otherwise wouldn't against a hunter. Or maybe it will use an attack that it otherwise wouldn't. Or maybe a monster can break a part that you can't reach as a hunter, and that part break affects the fight. What I'm trying to get at is have a turf war that you need to break up. That you need to get in there, weave between the flailing monsters and their attacks, and actually stop them fighting, because this fight is bad. It makes them more dangerous either now or once it's over. Or maybe if a monster kills your target, it doesn't count as you. They wouldn't do that because that would just be really annoying and it would feel so unfun. But the idea of a, oh no, there's a turf war, oh god, stop! You know, actually having different emotional reactions to a turf war than free damage. Alright, everybody relax. And I think that's really cool, and it seems to be something that they do want, because they said they want turf wars to turn into something more impactful. They want it to actually have gameplay elements that are new through fights between monsters. They want it to be an actual thing, not just a spectacle and 3 damage. So it is going to affect the hunt or your hunter in some way. They said they're going to share more at a later date, but this is what I would love to see. A Monster Hunter game where the desperate struggle of the monsters in their environment, the everyday just ferocity of these beasts, is something that is a threat to you that you have to really think about and actually choose how you're going to interact. Maybe you want to actually be encouraged to lure two monsters together so they fight, because it achieves something that's really hard for you to do as a hunter. To go back to something as simple as a part break, maybe a monster has a part that's near impossible to get as a hunter. It takes so much damage, it's hard to reach, it's difficult to even hit, maybe it takes ridiculous sharpness or even mind's eye, but if you lure the monster to a one that is very much designed to hunt it, or is good at combating it, it'll snap that part off quite easily for you and change the entire dynamic of the fight. Maybe now missing that part, the monster plays more defensively, it starts to be a little bit more threatened. You could do all sorts, and that would be so much fun. So I am excited that 1, it looks like they are being expanded upon, 2, they are deliberately saying it is a gameplay direction we want to go. We want turf wars, if they're even called turf wars of course in Rise, to actually affect the hunt more meaningfully than damage, and just they look to be better than ever, which is just purely awesome from a it's cool to watch monsters fight perspective. So there you go. Which two monsters are you really excited to see have a brawl? Of course, the flagship with all of them, something like the Toby, who we just speared
He damn!
Look, I can't get over the look of fear in that Tobi-Kadachi's. I can't, I've mentioned it before, but I can't get over it. I have never seen a monster, or anything really, look that desperately scared. And yeah, it's about to die, but that is soul-wrenching, just abject terror in that poor creature's eyes. Good lord. I digress. Let me know what you guys think. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I'll see you soon. A goodbye.
Rage gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.